computer.
Okay, so the recording is usually on a crowd.
Hello, everyone, again. Thanks for joining us. We are officially recording this webinar for those who cannot make it right now. So right now, I want to actually show you guys, for the ones who are tuning in, what you're going to get after this meeting is over. I have provided a kind of a cheat sheet that Rose gave me all of her information with her favorite accommodations, her favorite restaurants, her favorite things to see in all these different countries. So I've come up with a little bit of a cheat sheet. So I'm going to share it with you right now so that you can get a little sneak peek of what you're going to get after this meeting. So let me know if you can see that.
We can.
Yeah?
We can.
Do you guys like it? So you're going to get this at the end, and it's going to show you every accommodation she talks about, every restaurant she talks about, and every sightseeing opportunity she talks about. So that way you don't have to like frantically take notes right now, that you can mostly just kind of sit back, relax, and listen to Rose. And then once you get this, you'll have this to go back to however many times you need to and reference this so that you can have all this great info for your groups and for your FITs and all that jazz. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to go ahead and introduce Rose. Rose is actually my local BDM up here in Ohio for Europe Express, and she's amazing, and we just love her here in Cincinnati and Kentucky and Indiana. I represent all 3 states for TPI as their advocate. But Rose is going to go through and show us some of her top 20 pluses for London, for some places in Scotland. So you've got a really cool presentation ahead of you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I have a lot to say, everybody. So first of all, I want to say that about 4 years ago, actually 4 years ago on this day, today, I was actually in Inverness. So this means a lot to me that I can be presenting about a place that I've loved forever, that I've been to a number of times. And I brought a couple of just things, so hopefully you can see them. You might not with the background, but things to help me through the presentation. So I have my Harrods bag, which you probably can't see because of the color. I hope you can see this guy though. Patty
cute.
Help me through today. And as we probably all have been doing lately, I brought my favorite Scotch whiskey with me.
Nice.
Just in case I need it. So I'm not going to put it in my water, I promise. I have way too much to say. So I'm going to try to share my screen here again. Oh boy, let's see.
While Rose is getting ready to share that, let me know, those of you who are on here, if you want to put it in the chat, or if you just want to unmute yourself and let me know. But who of you, we're going to start with London first. Who of you have actually been to London? Yeah, cool. Yes. Lots of people. Awesome. Yeah, so as Rose's screen is coming up, I wanted to tell you guys about one sightseeing thing that do you want to write down on your notes? But it's called Tally-Ho Tours. It's one of my personal favorites, and whenever I have clients going to London, I always do that for them if they can ride a bike, if they enjoy bike riding, because it is so much fun. You get to see so much on the bike, and you get to go through all these little hidden kind of roads, and it's really special, and it's not very expensive at all. So that's a little tidbit from Lisa.
Okay, I think you can see my screen now.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, and what I am going to do is I'm going to just take my picture off so that you can focus on the actual presentation that I am giving at this time. So let me start with just a thank you to Lisa and all of you for joining us today. This is a really exciting opportunity, as Lisa had said, something new, something different, something fresh. So just a little bit of an introduction on me. I am Rose Schwartz. I am Lisa's BDM. I am based in Chicago, but I do have all of the the upper Midwest as well as New England. And just quickly on Europe Express, and I promise I won't talk a lot about us until later in the presentation, but these are the countries that we actually focus on. So if someone were to come to me and ask, oh, do you do Hawaii? No, we are strictly Europe. We concentrate on Europe. We are the Europe specialist for FIT and for groups. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Now, the first thing, obviously, we have to get to London. We have to get to Edinburgh. We have to get to Inverness. And Europe Express does offer the flights. So we have contracts with 17 different carriers into and out of Europe to get your clients to their destinations. Again, not going to focus too much on the flight, but we are going to focus on different cities in Britain. So we're going to start with London. Of course, London offers diverse cultural, culinary experiences. It's a melting pot of philosophies and nationalities, right? On the top of everyone's list of favorites, Buckingham Palace, Westminster Abbey, St. Paul's Cathedral, the Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Kensington Garden, Trafalgar Square, 10 Downing Street, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, Tower Bridge, Tower of London. I mean, I could go on and on, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to highlight some of the neighborhoods, a few of the properties that we at Europe Express really recommend. So the first neighborhood that I'm going to recommend is going to be Hyde Park, Kensington, and Paddington. I'm lumping these all together because they're easily lumped together. South Kensington is really great for museum goers. Natural History Museum is there. The Science Museum is there. The Victoria and Albert Museum. They're all next to one another. Kensington Palace is there, which you know is the final home of Princess Diana, and Hyde Park is, they're all connected within walking distance. Here, you're going to have lots of independent stores and cafes. It's a wealthy neighborhood. So for those of you and for your clients who actually enjoy secondhand stores, they're going to be amazed at the high-end items that are awfully hardly used that are found in those charity or thrift stores there. So keep that in mind, jot that down. Also Paddington. Paddington is a great area because if your clients are flying into London Heathrow, they can then take the Heathrow Express from Heathrow to London Paddington train station and arrive right there at their destination. So you can see Paddington is on this slide right here. And also the Lancaster Gate Hotel, which is where we're going to start. So Lancaster Gate Hotel is a 3-star hotel. When I say preferred hotel, you'll hear me say that a lot during the presentation. We have their room block. So you'll be able to see online that we have a room block there if it's listed as a preferred hotel. We recommend that you look at these first. Even though all of the hotels that we do have are preferred hotels. It's just going to be easier for us to confirm the preferred hotel for you. So Lancaster Gate Hotel, Hyde Park is a 2-minute walk. Paddington Station is a 10-minute walk, and Kensington Gardens is also a 2-minute walk. This is good for the leisure and business traveler, normal bedrooms, single, twin, double family rooms with flat screen TVs, desks, safes, coffee makers, the like. For drinks and dining, you have the Serpentine restaurant, I should say, room service. There's free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, it's smoke free, it's accessible. There is no pool, no spa, and no pets. You're going to hear me say these things a lot. What I want you to concentrate on is the free Wi-Fi, the air conditioning, the accessible, because there are going to be a few hotels that maybe don't have one or the other. Also parking, and we'll talk about this when we get to car rentals. Parking is hard to come by in these larger cities. So I'm going to recommend not, but again, we'll talk about that when we get to car rentals. So the next hotel that we have is the Park Grand London Paddington. It's a 4-star hotel. It is a 5-minute walk from Paddington Station. And what you really need to know is that there are 8 Park Grand brand hotels in London. It's hard for me to say all those words together, but make sure your clients know which one they're staying so that, especially if they take a taxi, the taxi is getting them to the correct Park Grand hotel. It's a boutique and unique type of hotel, and this is their tagline. They have twins, doubles, triples, suites, all with the normal TV, desk, safe, coffee makers. Free Wi-Fi, it is air conditioned, which is important in the summertime. Smoke-free, accessible, no pool, no spa, but it is pet friendly. Our next hotel then is the Queen's Gate Hotel. It is a 4-star preferred hotel. Remember what I said about preferred hotels. It is in the area of Kensington Gardens, the Royal Albert Hall, and the Natural History Museum. It's only within like 4 minutes walk. There are 90 guest rooms here, club and executive rooms, which feature the twin or king-size double beds. They have bathrobes here, slippers here, flat screen TVs, umbrellas, which is important for London, bathroom scales, handmade truffles and bottled water in the room. They have free Wi-Fi. It is air conditioned, smoke free. It is not accessible. There's a fitness center, but no pool or spa, and no pets. Our next hotel is the London House Hotel. It is a 3-star preferred hotel. It is in the same area of Kensington Gardens, Royal Albert Hall, and the Natural History Museum. It has 103 guest rooms, again, normal, single, twin, double, triple, free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free. It is not accessible. There is no fitness center, pool, or spa, and no pets. The next area that I'm going to take you to is actually South Bank. And in South Bank, this part of London has had a massive investment lately. And it's really nice to be on the opposite side of the River Thames, across from Westminster, to have that view across the river to the Houses of Parliament and Big Ben. Gives a different atmosphere. It's a nice walk across the Hungerford Bridge to the other side. And South Bank is actually also the home to the Royal Festival Hall and National Theatre and the London Eye, right? The area between the river and the Waterloo Station here around the Royal Festival Hall has been completely redeveloped. A lot of cafes, there are street entertainers with pop-up art and cultural events. So a really nice place to stay in the city of London. The first hotel is the H10 London Waterloo. It is a 4-star preferred hotel. It is an 8-minute walk from the Elephant and Castle Tube Station, which is important to note, and a mile from the London Eye. They have stylish rooms with floor-to-ceiling windows and city views. Obviously, free Wi-Fi, flat screen TVs, iPod docks and desks, as well as mini bars, tea and coffee making equipment. It is, again, free Wi-Fi, air-conditioned, smoke-free, accessible, no fitness center, pool, or spa, and no pets. In this area, we also like the Park Plaza Westminster Bridge. It is a 4-star preferred hotel. It's 3-minute walk from the London Dungeon and a 6-minute walk from the Waterloo train station, 5 minutes from the London Eye. So real close to everything. Has modern rooms, again, free Wi-Fi, flat screen TVs, mini bars, tea, coffee making. So again, free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free, accessible, fitness center, pool, spa, and hot tub. So this one has everything there. No pets though. The next hotel in South Bank is the Park Plaza County Hotel. And this is a 4-star preferred hotel. It is, again, 10 minutes walk from the Houses of Parliament, the London Eye and Waterloo train station. It's upscale, it's modern. It has mini bars, the flat screen TVs. Some have kitchenettes, which is nice. Upgraded rooms are going to offer access to a lounge with free breakfast and appetizers. The suites may have sofa beds, Nespresso machines, and balconies. So free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free, not accessible. They do have a fitness center, but no pool, spa, or hot tub, and no pets. Now the next neighborhood that I love, if I can get here, is Covent Garden, Leicester Square, and Soho. So this area is really great for theater goers, night owls. Also, Soho is really popular with the LGBTQ community. And there are a lot of bars and restaurants that cater to that community in this area. This area is always busy day and night. It can be a little noisy, but it is a good choice for those who want to go to clubs and bars. So our first hotel is the Radisson Edwardian Hotel, 5-star preferred hotel. It's located in Leicester Square, and it's a quarter of a mile from Trafalgar Square. So there are 127 rooms. This one has 14 suites. It has free Wi-Fi. It is air conditioned, smoke-free, accessible. It has the fitness center, but no pool or spa. This one actually offers parking. There are no pets, and it has 24-hour room service. Another hotel that we have in this area, adorable, is the Royal Horse Guards Hotel. It is our most popular 5-star hotel. It is adorable. Located in Westminster, so near to Buckingham Palace. Normal single, twin, double king rooms with varied views of the city. Free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free. It is not accessible. There is a fitness center, but no pool or spa. Pets are allowed. And what's cute about this place is that they have this secret herb garden is what it's called. It's a restaurant. It's the picture on the bottom of the screen. And it's so neat to go just have a drink there or to have a little light meal. They also have a bar called Ekis and a restaurant called 121-2. So keep that in mind for your clients. The next area that I actually do want to cover is an area called Belgravia. So in Belgravia, we have just elegant streets, right? Stucco townhouses, garden squares. The international embassies are here. There are high-end hotels, antique shops, chic furniture stores, galleries, boutiques with jewelry and designer fashions in them, fine dining. So it's a really great area that caters to the wealthy international residents. This hotel, the Goring Hotel, is my absolute favorite in this area of London. So it is a 5-star hotel. It is located on a very quiet street. It's perfectly situated for shopping and theater. And what makes it so cute is it's the last remaining family-owned hotel in London. So if your clients want something really special, this is the place to go. It has only 69 rooms and suites. There are private rooms for events. And can I say again, adorable, fantastic service. I took a group there, a fam group there a number of years ago, and we actually had our farewell dinner in one of the private rooms. There is free Wi-Fi, there are complimentary newspapers, 24-hour room service. It is air conditioned and it has this mood lighting in all the rooms. It is adorable. Now, before I move on to restaurant recommendations, I want to give you a non-recommendation. And I don't have a slide for it, but Victoria Station area, a lot of your clients may say that they want to stay in the Victoria Station area. It is pictured here on the bottom, and that's why I'm bringing it up on this slide. So right here is Victoria train station. And just to mention, there are a number of train stations in London, depending on where you're going out to or coming in from, that will determine the train station. So Victoria Station is where all of the buses leave for the day tours. So it's convenient for that aspect, but it's not the best area to be in. This area is popular with backpackers, and the hotels are very basic with small rooms, and it just suits those traveling on a very small budget. So probably not your client. I would not recommend Victoria Station area. So that being said, let's move on to the restaurant recommendations. I have a lot for London. So we have for breakfast, the Wolsey. Here, the breakfast is so good. There's even a book titled Breakfast at the Wolsey. It's a beautiful setting. It is most famous for breakfast and brunch, but it's open all day and into the night. And it's located in Piccadilly. So again, perfect location. For lunch and dinner, let me just move my slide. For lunch and dinner, we actually have 2 slides. So the first one, we're going to highlight Rules. Rules is actually the oldest restaurant in London. It is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays, but it serves the really traditional British fare, right? In a traditional setting. Rabbit, grouse, venison, lamb, meat pudding, and pies. And what's great about this is that the meat is sourced from their own estate. So it's locally sourced. We have the Boydesdale of Belgravia, which is a Scottish restaurant. It has typical Scottish fare, whiskeys, usually has live jazz music in the evenings. It's really close to Buckingham Palace, and it is right there by the Goring Hotel, which we just featured. Now, fish and chips, right? You can't go to the UK and not have the real fish and chips at least once. These are the ones with the crispy batter. There's no breadcrumbs. You have them with thick hand-cut chips. None of the stringy fries. And I would definitely recommend to add the mushy peas. The Mayfair chippy is really the best one in London. Here you can eat in or take it away. So if you do want to eat on the run, you can do that here at this restaurant. So the next one that we have is typical English pub is the Lamb and Flag. It's in Covent Garden, which is one of the areas that we recommended hotels. It's a great option for just the pub fare. Charles Dickens used to go there, as well as many others. So it's historical in its own right. It has the pub grub at very modest prices. Here, I'm going to tell you to try the Cockney pie and mash because it's their most popular dish. Now, for quick lunch options, I put some in here. Harrods has food counters in the food hall. So this is an experience unto itself. This is where the rich and famous shop, and it's perfect for people watching. What's nice about this is it's also for on the go, right? There's a window to the street for the food on the go, like sandwiches and things like that. And what you can do, or what your clients can do, they can take a sandwich here and then take it to Hyde Park to eat. You know, if the weather's nice, just take it out and eat it in one of the parks.
So I'm gonna butt in really quick.
Yeah.
So number one, my stomach is growling. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm like so hungry at the moment. And number two, I don't know how many of you have actually been to Harrods, but just out of personally being there and being a foodie, it's like walking into like Christmas, you know, for an adult who loves food. It is, you could spend an entire day there. It's incredible. You have to go check it out.
Yeah, it really is. It's one of the largest department stores in the European continent. There are others as well. You know, there's one in Berlin. If you're familiar with Berlin, the KaDeWe is a nice big store like that too, that has its food counters and the food hall. But Harrods is definitely a place to go. What I'd like to mention about Harrods too is that they do have, there's a pub in Harrods as well. So, you know, you can find other places to eat as well inside, aside from the food hall. So just moving on, we have also the restaurant in the Victoria and Albert Museum. So while you're museum hopping, right? I did say that there were a few different museums that were right next door to one another, and the Victoria Albert Museum has a restaurant. It is the world's oldest museum restaurant. It's quite beautiful inside. I know I don't have pictures of it, but go and take a look at it online when you get a second. Now, the restaurant here is a little bit more expensive than other museum restaurants, but it's really very much worth it for the stunning setting, right? The Bateman Arms is located in St. Pancras train station. Now, the train stations, all of them have tons of different food options. I took my group to the Bateman Arms a few years ago, and I loved the salad that I had. This is actually my picture of the salad that I had. It was goat cheese and fig, and it was absolutely delicious. Some other lunch and dinner options that I did not, again, I don't have a slide for it because I have a million slides that I want to show you, but curry from any of the curry houses on Brick Lane, or for family friendly and cheap, cheap, inexpensive, but quality food, the Giraffe chain of restaurants. It's all over the UK. So if you do have a family that's traveling together and they are on a budget, Giraffe chain of restaurants. And of course, in Chinatown around Leicester Square, there are a number of family-owned Chinese restaurants there. So I recommend that for lunch and dinner. Now, of course, we can't go to the UK and not have tea. So for afternoon tea, we have 3 different recommendations, but again, there are so many different places that actually have afternoon tea. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. But the Fortnum and Mason, this is where the royal family's groceries come from. This is where they shop. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. The tea there, wonderful experience. Also, the Sanderson Hotel. They have a Mad Hatter's afternoon tea. Kind of a little bit kitschy, I know, but it was adorable. Again, I took one of my fam groups there. We had the best afternoon tea, just sitting there eating the little sandwiches and sampling all the tea. And I can't leave this slide without mentioning again the Goring Hotel. Now, the Goring Hotel, again, is that family-owned hotel. And when I was there, the owner, manager, actually said that the Queen sometimes takes her tea there. So if you want to get maybe a shot of the Queen, maybe try the Goring Hotel for their fabulous tea. Moving on, we also have fine dining recommendations. And by fine dining, these, these have dress codes. So we want to make sure that your clients know that they would need a reservation, that they have to dress appropriately. We have the Aqua Shard. This is very extravagant. Floor to ceiling windows, picture it, on the 31st floor of Western Europe's tallest building. It has spectacular views over London. And then we have Sketch. Now, Sketch is kind of unique because it has 4 different spaces that each have their own theme. So is it a restaurant with an art gallery inside, or is it an art gallery with a restaurant inside? What's nice about this, or what's great about this restaurant, it has been awarded 3 Michelin stars, and it's regarded as one of the best restaurants in the world. So it doesn't only serve dinner, you can also have afternoon tea here. And what I've been experiencing as well, if you are looking to go to a Michelin star restaurant and you're looking to maybe do it a little bit more on a budget, the lunches are sometimes a better option than going for the dinners, just cost-wise. So just a little tip there. Okay, we're gonna move on to sightseeing. So transportation while in destination is always gonna be an important factor to determine, right? And in London, there are gonna be a lot of options, but I'm gonna say car rentals within the city are not recommended. The traffic is horrible. It's a beautiful city, but the traffic is horrible. And if you find parking, it's going to be costly. So I'm going to recommend 3 different ways, or 3 different options for sightseeing within the city. The number 1 is going to be the original London sightseeing. The validities are up on the screen. It's your typical hop on, hop off tour. Clients can start where they want, end where they want, hop off wherever they choose. And if they decide, they can take a complete tour. It takes about an hour and a half to do 1 round. What's nice about this too, it's great to use for sightseeing or to get you from one place to another. So if there's a hop on, hop off stop near, a pub that they want to visit for lunch, then they can use that as transportation if they wish. Speaking of transportation, my favorite inside of London, or the London area, is the London Oyster card. It is what I say here, a stored value card. So basically it just means that you can continue to top it off as need be. There's no trash. The card remains valid. You can keep it for your next journey to London. I still have mine from years ago that I just continue to top off whenever I go to London. And again, what's nice about this is it's really the best way to get around London by bus, tube, tram, the London Overground, and some of the river buses as well. If you pair that with the London Pass, now the London Pass is basically entry into over 60 top attractions. You can take advantage of cruises, tours, different walks, and special discounts at restaurants, but it does not include transportation. So that's why I say pair it with the London Oyster card, and then your clients will have a lot to do and a way to get to those places. Now, what I'm also going to recommend is the special interest sightseeing, right? There are a number of special interest sightseeing tours that we have, from Harry Potter, Jack the Ripper, Mary Poppins. I showed you my Paddington Bear, who's sitting right here next to me, still cheering me on as we go through this. Bridget Jones, Downton Abbey. Maybe you add a high tea, a dinner cruise on the Thames, or theater tickets. These can really round out a customized itinerary to London and the surroundings. Now, outside of London, this is one of my favorite outside of London tours. And what's nice is that your clients don't have to pack and repack. It's a day tour. First stop is going to be Windsor and Windsor Castle with its 900 years of royal history. Then Stonehenge and its mystical history, imposing sophisticated prehistoric architecture. And then a stop in Bath to visit the Roman baths and hot springs, which actually give Bath its name. What I like too to get out of London is maybe a day trip to Paris. So with this Welcome to Paris first class on Eurostar, your clients, what I like to say here is your clients can breakfast in London, lunch in Paris, and be back in London for dinner. It is approximately 4 hours in duration. Clients have a return ticket on the Eurostar, which travels at 168 miles per hour and only takes 2 hours and 15 minutes to get between London and Paris. Upon arrival there, they have a panoramic tour of the city where they're going to pass most of the major sites, right? Notre Dame, the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe, and the Eiffel Tower, of course. And then afterward, they can just use the day for self-exploration. Now, what is most important about this is obviously their passports. If they get to the St. Pancras station without their passport, they will not be able to go on this Eurostar train to Paris. What I like to say here, similar tours can be arranged on their own. So if you don't want to have them do this Welcome to Paris and they have other thoughts in their mind of what they want to do in Paris or even in Brussels, so Paris and Brussels can be accessed by Eurostar through Europe Express, and your clients can do it at their own pace. Now, Eurostar also travels from London to Amsterdam, but that's not at all possible for a day tour. It's just too long of a journey, but it can be done if your clients are pairing London and Amsterdam together.
Hey, Rose, I've had a question.
Sure.
Jill, she says, does Europe Express sell the London Pass and or Oyster card that we could possibly add to a package?
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to talk more about sightseeing probably at the end and what we can actually do, but I'm going to mention it now. So of the products that we do offer, there are just 2 components that cannot be booked individually through Europe Express. The 2 components that need to be booked with additional components are air and rail. But our hotels, our transfers, our sightseeing, our car rentals may all be booked individually if you only need that little segment.
Fabulous. And we're pretty much sure that all the agents, especially Michelle and Mark, we want to do a fam.
So do I. Let's go.
We'll plan that for 2021, 22. Okay.
Right. We have to do something because my passport is collecting dust.
Yeah.
I can't take it anymore.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Interrupt me whenever you need, Lisa. That's perfect. I'd like to get questions answered right as we're kind of discussing them. So no problem at all.
Great.
Okay, let's go to Scotland. So it's no wonder that Edinburgh, the capital of Scotland, is a lively city, right? It is home to about 500,000 inhabitants. And, you know, it's always held a vital position in literature, history, and the royal lineage of Britain. And over the past couple of years, it's gained popularity, right? Some of you may know, I'm sure I have some Outlander fans out there right now. It's really gained more popularity after the Outlander books that were actually written in the 90s. I don't know how I missed that in the 90s. And the Outlander series. But Edinburgh is also considered to be the most haunted of all of Scottish cities. And a few of the hotel recommendations, although beautiful, functional, and perfectly situated in the city center, they do have a history that lends themselves to kind of a spooky past. So it's kind of nice that we're doing this presentation now because it is October. We're heading toward Halloween. And I want to present these hotels and restaurants to you. I've stayed in these hotels. Although I do consider myself open to the supernatural, I didn't feel any presence. Okay. And I think if you have enough whiskey, you're not going to have to worry about it. But I did feel really welcomed and comfortable in this awesome city. So we're going to start in the city center in the old town with the Jury's in Edinburgh. Now it is a 3-star preferred hotel. It is 2 minutes walk from the Edinburgh Waverley station, which is the main train station in Edinburgh. It's also a mile from the 11th century Edinburgh Castle and 4 miles from the Edinburgh Zoo. So it's pretty bright and streamlined. It has flat screen TVs, tea and coffee makers in every room. There's a relaxed restaurant and a cafe bar. And here we have the Wi-Fi at an extra charge, even though amenities include computers in the lobby and 5 meeting rooms. So just keep in mind that the Wi-Fi here is the only one that I'll mention where Wi-Fi is not free of charge. It is an extra charge. So this is smoke-free. It's accessible. No fitness center, pool, or spa. No pets, but the restaurant and bar on property are pretty awesome. Nice place to eat, get some pub grub, and maybe a whiskey or beer. The next hotel is like my absolute favorite. I have my favorites and then I have my absolute favorites. My absolute favorite in Edinburgh is the Scotsman Hotel. It's for the reason being location, decor, comfort, right? But it is set in the former Scotsman newspaper building. This is where truly the newspaper was printed. And it does have kind of a haunted history, as they say. There are ghosts or spirits of printing assistants and copyists that are supposed to run through these halls. Again, I stayed there. I didn't feel anything but welcomed. It's a lovely hotel. It is directly across the street from the train station, as you can see from this map here. 2 minutes from the train to the hotel. It is upscale. All the rooms are individually decorated. They have flat screen TVs, designer toiletries, tea, coffee making. Some of the suites have views over the castle. They even have a penthouse that's spread over 2 floors. And what's nice about this, if you look at the pictures, the bottom picture is actually the room that I stayed in. It was amazing. And again, the group that I had with me also had just these ornately decorated rooms. It's a beautiful location, a beautiful property, great location. If you're looking at the Royal Mile, which goes from the top of the hill from the castle down to the Holyrood House, again, a mile or so, the Royal Mile. It is smack dab in the middle of that street, basically, right? So it's just a few minutes up to the castle and just a few minutes walk down to the Holyrood Palace. Now, what's nice about this, it has an oak brasserie and an ornate bar. We had some of the best whiskeys in this bar, and the bartender was so cute. He helped us to understand the different whiskeys. He was actually letting us smell them and taste for a cost, obviously, the ones we wanted to taste. But it's a beautiful setting. It has free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free, not accessible though, no fitness center, pool, spa, no pets.
Hey Rose, quick question about the jury. Does it have air conditioning?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask me that, and I completely forgot. I'd have to double check. I don't remember. I want to say that it does, because most juries do, but you know, I don't want to get into. Yeah. Let me check on that for you.
That's cool. And Monica said that she stayed there a few years ago. She didn't see any ghosts. So
okay. Good. I didn't, you know what, in the Scotsman Hotel, I didn't feel anything. I didn't see anything. Now, you know, you always have people in your group that are like, oh, I did see it, or I kept the lights on all night. And,
right.
You know, again, I don't know. I loved it there, and I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, Bobby also said she loves it there, and Mark says that we need to add whiskey tasting to our fam.
Yes, well, absolutely. And you know what? The big thing now, too, in Scotland is gin. So, yeah, without trying to derail this, but the gins are big now, and the infused gin. So like infused with lavender and infused with this, that, and like, so if we're doing a tour, we need to add the whiskeys. We need to add the gins. Okay.
Most people would be okay with that. Now I don't drink, so whoever goes with me, they'll like that because they'll get my portions.
Right. Well, we'll have to fight over them, I guess. So yeah. Okay, so the next one is the Parliament House. It's a 3-star. It is actually set on a cobble street that leads to Calton Hill. And, you know, it's a bright hotel. It combines Jacobean and Georgian properties together. It's a 6-minute walk from the Waverley Station. So not real far. It does have polished rooms, flat screen TVs. The suites that they have do have extra space and dining tables, as well as views over the city. They do have room service. The in-house bistro that's there does serve a full Scottish breakfast as well as dinner. Now, this is not free. It would be a charge, but I do like to mention it. And so what we have here, we have free Wi-Fi, we have air-conditioned property. It is smoke-free, it is accessible. There's no fitness center, pool, or spa, and no pets. Sorry, just taking a drink of water here. The next hotel is a little bit further, so you'll see that on the map. It's a little bit further. So here we have Edinburgh Waverley Station, and here it's on the south side, right? No big deal. It is actually owned by the Royal College of Surgeons, called 10 Hill Place. It's a 4-star property. It is a 7-minute walk from the National Scotland Museum and 15 minutes walk from the Edinburgh Castle. So still not a bad location at all. Stylish rooms, again, TVs, tea, coffee making equipment. They have a very informal restaurant, which offers cooked breakfast as well as Scottish classics for dinner, of course, for a fee. But there's also a colorful wine bar that serves like the pub grub, the lighter fare. So worth it to check out. Free Wi-Fi, air-conditioned, smoke-free, accessible, no fitness center, pool, or spa, no pets. And then we have the very last one in Edinburgh is the Leonardo Royal Edinburgh Haymarket. Now it is a 4-star hotel. It is preferred, but if we take a look at the location, it is at the Haymarket not at Waverly or the old city, the old town. So basically, Waverly is the main train station, and Haymarket is a secondary train station in Edinburgh. You have to pass through Waverly to get to Haymarket. Haymarket is closer to the airport, but it is further away from the sites. So what I like to say here, it's really only a 5-minute walk to the Haymarket train station, where clients can get on a train, a little commuter, back to the Waverly station and back into the city center. Now, rooms here are going to have the pillow top mattresses, tea, coffee making, TV, desk, same. Free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free. It is accessible. There's no fitness center, pool, or spa, no pets. This location is also just a 4-minute walk from the Edinburgh International Conference Center. So if you do have someone going for a conference or business, this is maybe a good choice for them. So let's talk a little bit about restaurants.
Hey Rose, before you get into that, Mark is asking, do any of the hotels include ironing, like or an ironing board, ironing board for you to iron your own clothes?
That is a really great question. Not something that I had thought to put on the list. So what I'm going to say here is that, and you'll hear me say it again, our reservations team is awesome. And I want you to get to know me if I am your BDM, for sure. And we'll go over that too, because if I'm not, then I want you to get to know my colleagues. But I also want you to build a relationship with our reservation staff. Find that person that's like the Discover card commercial to you. You know what I mean by that? I like you and you like me and we like working together. Find that person, because they are all, they have lived there, worked there, studied there, traveled extensively. These guys know the hotels in and out. They know the sightseeing in and out. So if you have questions like that, they're going to be the ones who can get those answers a lot quicker for you. Okay. All righty. So just to move on, and thank you again for all the questions. I am loving this so far. I'm trying to get through as fast as I can because there's a ton of information. But some of the restaurants that I love. So Luden's in Edinburgh has 2 locations, one on Fountain Bridge and one in New Waverly. This is not only for brunch enthusiasts. The Edinburgh families flock there on the weekends. So you can expect to battle a queue to get in, but any Edinburgh is going to tell you that it's worth the wait. I'm going to tell you that also, if you're a hangover sufferer, their breakfasts and brunches are awesome. It's really famed for its Eggs Benedict, and they have 14 different kinds of Eggs Benedict. Delicious.
Gosh, we're going there. That's amazing.
Delicious. Then there's the Bow Bar. I had to put one of these bars in. This is a bar that dates back to just 1980, which is not too long ago. It has the look of a traditional Scottish pub, but it has more than 300 of Edinburgh's finest whiskeys on its menu. It also serves beers and ales and that, and it's no frills inside, so it doesn't offer an extensive food menu. I do this more for, again, the taste, the alcohol side of things. I hate for it to sound like that, but they do serve pies in the middle of the day. So they're big on their meat pies. So they do serve them there. The White Hart Inn is one of Edinburgh's oldest pubs. Okay, its cellar dates back to 1516, and it is claimed to be undoubtedly the most haunted pub. So according to their popular myth, Edinburgh's notorious murdering duo, William Burke and William Hare, They were supposed to have gone to this pub and enticed fellow drinkers away from the old pub to kill them in their nearby lodgings before selling their corpses. Kind of a little bit macabre, but definitely, again, if you're looking for the oldest places, the where we have the history, these are the places that you want to go. The next one is the Witchery. Now, the Witchery is not only a hotel, but it's also fine dining in Edinburgh. It is the oldest and most haunted restaurant in the Old Town. It sits at the bottom of Castle Hill, so right underneath the Edinburgh Castle. And what everyone says is that the witches of old can be heard on dark nights as the wind shrieks around the Castle Hill. The menu there is fabulous. The dining is fabulous. The hotel is also. So it's a really great place to not only stay, but for dining purposes. And one of my absolute favorites is the Hotel du Vin Bistro. It is a French-style bistro. It does have a haunted history because it's not only a bistro, but it's also a hotel. It is an 18th century hotel that was once an asylum. And of course, some guests have reported seeing ghosts. I don't know, my group and I had the best dinner there while we were in Edinburgh. But what's nice about this is it not only does it serve dinner, but it has breakfast, tea, and lunch. So it's open all day. Let's move on to some sightseeing recommendations. Oh, by the way, this is a picture. This is my picture. I didn't drink all those. All right, so in Edinburgh, we have our Edinburgh sightseeing. We do have a private sightseeing tour. So private driver, private guide. This is a lot. We're gonna hear more about these types of tours because people are gonna want to travel within their bubble. This is just the new, I don't like to use the word new norm, but this is a new trend that we're seeing. So with a private tour like this, you have the freedom, or your clients have the freedom, to explore Edinburgh as they wish. They can go to the castle, the Grass Market, the Greyfriars Bobby, St. Giles Cathedral, the Palace of the Holy Roodhouse, the Georgian House, the Royal Yacht Britannia, which it was actually the Queen's yacht. So they can walk through that and take a tour. There are also tours like the Braveheart Tour, which will take them out to Stirling. So Stirling Castle, the Church of the Holy Rood, the site of the Battle of the Stirling Bridge, the Wallace Monument, and Linlithgow Palace, which is the birthplace of Mary, Queen of Scots. I'm just going to ask you to remember this tour when I talk to you about what clients can do on their own around Edinburgh with car or with train. Of course, the ghostly walking tours, centuries of murder and torture and hangings. So your clients will be led down the street with a cloak guide into the vaults beneath the South Bridge, just to hear all the stories. And then the West Highlands Locks and Castles, where clients will travel past Stirling Castle to Doune Castle. And again, for those who are interested in Outlander, as I am, Doune Castle plays an important part in Outlander. And then stops to Inverary and a stop in Luss before returning back to Edinburgh. There are also multi-day tours, which is really nice because then clients can still have a base in Edinburgh, but venture out. So we have the 2-day Loch Ness and Inverness tour, which is just what it says. But there's also a short stop in a town called Pitlochry and into the Carnagarm National Park, where clients can actually walk through the Caledonian pine forest. So we have a 3-day tour of the Isle of Skye. This is the most frequented island and the most romantic. Highlights here include Glencoe, Loch Ness, Eilean Castle, and the Five Sisters of Kintail. And then we have the 5-day Highland Explorer in Isle of Skye. And this is really Scotland at its best. from dramatic mountain scenery to white sandy beaches, to the pine forest of the Carnarvon National Park, to the beauty of the Isle of Skye, past obviously the Eilean Castle, Loch Ness, Glencoe, and the village of Applecross. So really great extensions outside of Edinburgh. Now here's what I'm going to say too. Clients can go it on their own. If this changes for me. There we go. Clients can do it on their own with a car or with train as well. So just as an example, my group did not have a car. I was not going to rent a van for us to drive around in, but we did do it by rail. So we left early in the day. We went by train out of Edinburgh to Linlithgow, walked over to the Palace of Mary Queen of Scots in Linlithgow, toured that, walked back to the train station, took the train to Stirling, walked up the hill to the Stirling Castle, toured the castle, came back down, and took the train back to Edinburgh. It's real easy to do. Now, I'm going to say trace the filming locations of Outlander. Why not? Because if you take a car on these routes instead, it's very much closer. You can get into places like Doon Castle, which are harder by train, but easier with a car. And then let's move on to Inverness, Loch Ness, and Culloden. So Loch Ness, just so you know, is not the deepest or largest loch in Scotland, but it does contain more water than all of the English and Welsh lakes combined. So many Scottish lochs remain cold all year round, only about 41 degrees. So aside from Nessie lurking deep inside, I do not recommend that you go swimming there in any season. But there's plenty to do in and around Loch Ness, Inverness, and Urquhart Castle, which is the castle that's pictured here. Now, the Battle of Culloden Moor is actually known for the site of the final Jacobite Rising. So in April 16th, 1746, the Jacobites went to battle the Duke of Cumberland on this land. And within an hour, 1,500 men lost their lives. So this is really Scotland's Gettysburg, right? This defeat of the Jacobite army would result in a united Britain under English rule. So it's a very important part of Scottish and English history. And I love this area of the Highlands. So let's go ahead and look at some of the hotels. We have the Columba Hotel in Inverness. It's a 4-star property. It's set in a building that dates back to 1881, and it overlooks the River Ness. It is a 3-minute walk from St. Andrew's Cathedral and the Inverness Castle, and 5 minutes from the museum and art gallery. Has classic rooms. Some actually have clawfoot tubs. Free Wi-Fi, flat screen TVs, coffee and tea making facilities. Many have river or castle views. So a lot of these rooms are going to have these nice views of the city. There's free Wi-Fi, it's air conditioned, it is smoke free, accessible, no pets, but there is a restaurant and bar on property. Nearby parking is available, but for a fee. So that's why, again, I say cars are not always going to be the best mode of transportation because you have to add in that extra cost. Now we have the Royal Highland Hotel. This is a 3-star property, and here I go again. This is my favorite in Inverness. One of the reasons why it is in the railway station, so it's easily accessible, right? It is the oldest hotel in the center of the Highland capital of Inverness. So 151 years of history, it's been serving clients that are coming through there. In 2000, the property was restored. So in the foyer, and you can see it here, there's a grand staircase. This is the inspiration for the Titanic's staircase. It actually leads up to the 84 spacious refurbished rooms. There is an elevator. Don't worry, you don't have to take the stairs. Within 5 minutes drive, you're out into the dramatic Highlands, right? Loch Ness is 7 miles from the hotel, so close. It has free Wi-Fi. It is air conditioned, smoke free. There's no fitness center, pool, or spa. Pets are allowed, and there is a restaurant and bar on property, and I'll talk about those when we talk about the restaurants, because that's one of my recommendations for you. The second hotel that we have here in Inverness, it's in the outskirts, the third hotel. It's the King's Mill Hotel. It's 4-star. It's in a mansion that dates back to 1786. It is not only a hotel, but it's also a conference center. It is 1 mile from the Inverness Castle and 9.5-ish miles from the Inverness Airport. There are modern rooms, flat screen TVs, premium channels, free Wi-Fi, tea and coffee. Some have balconies or patios. There is a restaurant overlooking the gardens, which really specializes in the Scottish fare, traditional and international cuisines. And of course, a whiskey bar, free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free. This one does have a fitness center, pool, spa, and hot tub. It is accessible. There's free parking. Pets are allowed. So, I mean, this one has everything that we were looking for. The last hotel here is going to be the Culloden House. Now, the Culloden House is a 4-star. It's originally a 16th century Jacobean castle. It is only 3.3 miles from the Culloden Battlefield and Visitor Center. And it has traditional rooms, flat screen TVs. Some of the suites have fireplaces, living rooms, Bose stereos, scenic views. There are 40 acres of gardens and trails, so it's a nice getaway. Again, if someone wants to just get away from the crowds, this is somewhere to go. Tennis is available on the property. They have a sauna. They do in-room spa treatments. That is for a surcharge. Free Wi-Fi, air conditioned, smoke free. Free parking. There's no fitness center, pool, or spa. No pets, but there is a restaurant and the bar on property. So let's get to the restaurant recommendations. To perk ourselves up in the morning, we do have Perk. So it's the best coffee and donuts in the heart of Inverness. I do recommend that. And before I talk about the White House or the Ash restaurant, I'm going to touch on haggis. If you have not had haggis, you need to try it. Just try to get over what it is. It's like a crumbly sausage, right? And it has kind of a peppery flavor. It is most commonly served, as you can see here, with mashed potatoes, which they call tatties, or with neeps, which are mashed up turnips. This
what is
one huh?
What is haggis? I don't know.
So haggis is a whole bunch of sheep innards, really, just
okay.
Ground up. Don't think about it. Like I said, don't think about it.
You need to just eat it.
Yeah, just eat it. Just eat it.
Kirsten said she likes haggis. She says haggis is great.
I love haggis. I'm like a crazy person with it. So this plate, I'm not kidding you, this is one of my plates. And if I had it in front of me, I would not be talking right now. I would be eating it. So this is called the chicken Balmoral or Balmoral chicken. Either way, it's the same thing. They stuff the haggis inside the chicken and bake it and then put a whiskey sauce over it. Oh my God, it is so good. So I'm just going to tell you, the White House and Ash do have that on their menu. The White House is great for an evening out. It is not far from the main train station, so not far from one of my very favorite hotels that we just saw. The restaurant requires reservations, right? But it's also known for its quality of not only the food, but the presentation and of the food and the cocktails. I was on a search for the best Balmoral chicken. I'm telling you, like that and the pies, the meat pies, the chicken pies, I was a crazy person. So Ash is another restaurant that is actually located in the Royal Highland Hotel. It is a great atmosphere. It's right there by the grand staircase. It did have one of the best chicken Balmoral dishes that I've had, but it also, like I said, has steak and chicken pies, neeps, tatties. This one also has veggie tempura because of its Indian influence, the owners. And then you have Coyotes of Inverness. This is easy, quick food. You're on the run, you can dine in or take it out. It's burgers, chicken sandwiches, and sides, but some of my favorites. And some of the sightseeing recommendations that I have here, lots to do. Okay, obviously Loch Ness, right? We need to get out to Loch Ness. You're going to see it from all different perspectives. Drumnadrochit, Invermorston, Fort Augustus. Then we have Glen Affric, Culloden, and Clovacarns. This is a full day tour. Takes you first out to Clovacarns, which is a Bronze Age burial site. It has stone circles, and this is said to be the inspiration for Craignadoon in Outlander. So again, those of you Outlander fans, this is where you want to go to kind of see that inspiration. Then, of course, a tour to the Culloden battlefields and to Loch Affric. And then the third tour we have here is Skye and Eileandunnan Castle. So stops at Loch Ness and Invermorston, Eileandunnan Castle, the Isle of Skye, and the city of Portree, the Old Man of Storr, and Kiltrock. These are really just great day experiences for anyone who's in Inverness for any time. Okay, on to Glasgow. I wasn't going to add Glasgow, but I just wanted to give you one little recommendation there. So Glasgow, of course, is a port city on the River Clyde in Scotland's western lowlands. When we talk about the lowlands, we're looking at Glasgow, we're looking at Edinburgh. So those are lowlands. As you start to move higher up into the countryside, then of course you get into the highlands. So let's see, the one and only hotel that I have here, recommendation, is the Grand Central Hotel. This is actually in Glasgow's Central Railway Station. It is a 4-star hotel. It does have a haunted history. So, you know, rumor has it that underneath this hotel actually sits Victorian streets and tunnels. So another sign of a village that was lost a long time ago, kind of similar to the vaults underneath the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. That's why we have all these haunted locations. So I guess the hotel is supposed to be haunted by several guests who stayed there. Again, I don't know. I did not see it. But I think it's a perfect location because it's in the train station, so not far away from the trains if clients are traveling by train. It's 5 minutes walk to the Modern Art Gallery. It is also only 9 minutes walk to the St. Enoch Shopping Center. It has really sophisticated rooms. They just, again, flat screen TVs, some have the rainfall shower heads, the laptop size safes. It does have an elegant restaurant with seasonal menu. They also have a cafe that serves lighter fare, a cocktail bar and lounge where you can get some nice whiskeys or afternoon tea. People do have balls here. They have weddings here. There are facilities for that here. Free Wi-Fi, air-conditioned, smoke-free. It is accessible. No fitness center, pool, spa. Pets are allowed. There's a restaurant and bar on the property. But again, what I like about this, and this is my picture of the hotel, there are kiosks right in the train station for other food and sundries and anything else that you could need. It's all right there, all right there. Now, the restaurant recommendations that I have for you in Glasgow, I have 3 of them. Let me get to that slide. They are all located in Glasgow's West End. So just make a note of that, West End. The Drake has hearty foods and all of the ingredients are locally sourced. The favorite here is the roasted cod with chorizo jam or curried chickpeas with poached eggs. And of course, the Drake burger, right? You got to get the burger. Here we have draft beers, craft bottle beers. There's a wine list. There's a whole cocktail menu, everything for everybody. Then you have cotiers, which is it's really so cool. It is in a converted church. So inside it has a theater, it has a bar, it has a restaurant, it can be used as a wedding venue. It is surrounded by these cute gardens and stone terrace for eating outside in the summer. Here you can get pub fare, right? Burgers, quinoa and falafel sandwiches, mac and cheese, bread and butter pudding. And then I have Stravagan. This is an exotic Scottish menu. It's not an exotic plate, so you don't have to be, it's not fine dining. You don't have to dress up to go, but they inspire guests to be adventurous and taste foods that are sourced sustainably, right? Locally, globally. So they have the normal, the haggis, the neeps and tatties. They have Shetland mussels. They have different curries depending on the day. And what's nice about this restaurant too is it can be booked for groups of up to 55 people. So we could really, if we put together a group for you, we can definitely get them into this restaurant. So recommending sightseeing in and around Glasgow. Of course, we got to go back to Loch Ness, Glencoe, and the Highlands. You got to see Nessie no matter what. So on this tour, Glencoe, Fort Augustus, and returning via Pitlochry, which is a cute little town. Then Oban, Glencoe, the Highland Lochs and Castles. You go out to Loch Lomond, which is one of the most beautiful lochs. Inverary, Oban, which has its own whiskeys, but it's also known as the gateway to the Isles. So the Hebrides, the inner and outer Hebrides Islands. Then a visit to Luss, which is an 18th century village. Of course, we need to go back to Stirling Castle. If you look at this all on a map, Edinburgh and Glasgow are not that far away from each other. So a lot of these tours can be taken out of Glasgow or Edinburgh, or a lot of them are similar, right? So we have Stirling Castle, Loch Lomond, and a whiskey tour, just what it sounds like. Stirling Castle, for those who are into Robert the Bruce and William Wallace and Braveheart. And then a trip to the Glengoyne Distillery, and of course, Loch Lomond. So let's move on. And I feel like I'm taking so much of your time right now, but we're almost done. I promise. Keep asking questions. So just quickly, transfers. We have private car transfers available throughout the country. But if clients want to go somewhere like the Isle of Skye without renting a car, they really need to do it on a private multi-day tour. It's simply too far away from, say, Inverness for them to have to drive back and forth. It would require an overnight, which gets really expensive. As far as rail, you've already probably heard it in my voice. Rail is very important to me. I actually love traveling by rail in all of Europe. So what I'm going to recommend is the 4-hour rail journey from London King's Cross Station to London Waverley. On the picture here, sorry, to the left, which is on the London Northeastern Railway. Now, this is the easiest, most comfortable way to get from city center to city center. These trains are going to offer first and second class, and I'm going to always recommend that you suggest clients travel in first class. Why? It's a better overall rail experience. They have room for themselves, they have room for their luggage, and again, going back to the new trend of traveling within your bubble, you'll have more space for physical distancing. In second class, you have a different configuration. You have clients, you have travelers who are the locals traveling in second class. It's always going to be more crowded. I'm going to say here, now the picture on the right is ScotRail. These are trains within Scotland. Easy transport city to city for day journeys. It's a little bit harder to take the ScotRail trains from city to city with luggage. Just gonna say, I tried it with my group. It was a little bit more difficult. Reason being, it's a different type of a train. It is smaller, it is narrower, and on top of the seats where you are supposed to put your luggage, it is a smaller space. So we as North Americans like to travel with a lot of luggage, and they're big. You got to get those up and out of the way of the conductor. So just saying, it's easy to do day trips on ScotRail, not so much going from Edinburgh up to Inverness. But that being said, we're going to go with car rentals. Car rentals are a great way to get from one place to another. What I am going to say with a car rental, though, we are not, even though we can help you to add them and clients can chart their own course, car rentals are only going to be available from the major cities: London, Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dundee, Aberdeen, Inverness, the big cities. Now, that's not to say that they can't be rented in Edinburgh, returned to Glasgow or Inverness. But what I'm going to say here, a tip, and I've learned this from experience because I have traveled extensively throughout England and Scotland, and I have driven and I have trained it. So my tip here, if clients are renting in, say, Edinburgh, have them rent from the airport location. This is going to allow them more time to get accustomed to driving on the left-hand side of the road because they will be out of the city traffic. Take it from me, honestly. All right, next. So really quickly about Europe Express, and then I promise I will let you go do whatever you need to do the rest of this day. So there are 5 pillars that we stand behind. Number 1, we work exclusively with travel advisors. We do not work with the general public. This helps us to get you what you need and get your clients what they need. We have reservation experts. I talked about them before in our FIT department and also on our groups team that have lived, worked, studied, and traveled extensively. And our in-destination support means that we have an office in Barcelona where we have a 24/7 hotline. Your clients are in great hands if they need to contact that 24/7 hotline when they're on their vacation. And this team also helps us to select the products. So they stay in the hotels, they take the tours, they're involved in the contracting season right now. So as we talked about before, these are all the products and services that we do offer. I touched a little bit on air and rail not being able to be booked individually, but hotel, sightseeing, transfers, and car rentals can. We do offer travel insurance, but I'm just going to give you a little hint. Travel insurance is not going to be commissionable, and I'll talk about commission here in just a second. So you are absolutely able to book the travel insurance with us, but I am going to highly recommend that you go to whomever TPI has contracted with to help you to include that insurance. Just helping your bottom line here. So a couple of different ways that Europe Express differs from the other suppliers that you're working with. Again, we specialize in Europe, so that is all that we do. Again, think about the Discover card commercial when you're picking that perfect fit reservationist to help you out, because you will have their email and you will have their phone number, and they can help you with all quotes and revisions to the quotes. You don't, with Europe Express, you don't have to go out to each individual component, each hotel, each sightseeing company, and do it all on your own. We do it all for you. You don't have to worry about that. Europe Express does not require an immediate deposit at time of initial quote. This is nice because you can then talk it over with your clients before we're asking you to provide us with any kind of monies. We have that 24/7 emergency support line that I talked about. We have all sorts of tools on our website, from city guides to sightseeing descriptions, which I'll talk about in just a second. We don't differentiate commission based on booking channel. So it doesn't matter to us if you're booking online, if you're emailing us, if you're filling out a custom quote request form, or if you're calling our reservations team. We are going to give you the same commission across the board. We're not going to ding you basically for calling us. We want you to call us. I want you to call our reservations team. We encourage you to add service fees. So remember that the price on your client copy of the invoice is one package price. It's not going to be charged separately, meaning the service fees are added to the total package price, right? They're not going to see what you're adding. And our documentation, within 10 minutes of receiving a quote number, you're going to have access to the advisor copy of the invoice, the client copy of the invoice, and an itinerary that looks as if you spent like days putting this together. Pictures, descriptions. It will really make you stand out and look professional. Now, what I'm going to ask of you is that if you're not already registered, please register yourself under TPI. But because you are an independent contractor and you work out of your home, our technology allows for you to enter your mailing address into your login profile while still reaping all the benefits of the contracted commission through TPI and Europe Express. Okay, this also is going to help us to find you. So I wouldn't know that Lisa is in my territory had she not added her home address to her login. We want to know these things. We want to be able to invite you out for coffee or for lunch or for a specific event. This happened last year. Lisa can vouch for it. I'm sure that there are a few others that I've met last year that we were able to invite them to an event. Now, again, 4 different ways to get a hold of us. You can book it online. You can book your quote online, your itinerary online by yourself. You can use a custom quote request form that is also found online. Just fill it out, hit send. The at europeexpress.com email. You can also email us or call our reservation experts, right? So just quickly, advisor resources. I do recommend that you sign up to our newsletter. This is going to give you new product information, discontinued product information, FAM opportunities. We were talking about those before. Also webinars that are upcoming. So please join us on some of those. We have flyers that are going to highlight all different kinds of activities. History, romance themed getaways, tipping guide, which is awesome. Tipping guide can be put in all the documentation that you send out to your clients. And then obviously the city guides. City guides, I'm going to tell you, you can use for yourself. You can also email them off to your clients to help them get started, because there will be maps there, shopping information, restaurant recommendation information, city history. But don't print them, because some of them are really pages and pages long. Now, 2 other things that I really like online are sightseeing options. So under sightseeing options, you can go ahead and look at the sightseeing that we have. It's not an exhaustive list of all the product, but when you download this into a PDF, it's only going to give you the information specific to the sightseeing tour or activity, but it's not going to divulge the individual pricing. Remember that the total package price with Europe Express is one package price to your clients. We don't break out of individual costs on the client copy of the invoice. You see the individual costs on your agent copy, but not on the client copy. And the other thing that I do like is our packages by destination. If you pair a packages by destination along with the city guides, you're going to have a lot to talk about with your client, right? So here under packages by destination, you're going to select an itinerary, enter in the client's information. It's a quick quote. That's what I call it. It's a quick quote. You can book it as it is. So that's why they're there. They can book it as it is, but they're really just you can use them as jumping off points for talking about FITs. I have some people who have advisors that I've seen, and they're like, oh, well, I pull out so-and-so's motor coach guide. And I say, do you want something like this? And I'm like, oh my God, please don't do that. Because an FIT is never going to look like a motor coach tour. An FIT is supposed to be something very individualized. And then just really quickly, we're almost done here. This is our team of BDMs. So again, depending on where you're located, you're physically located, is where you'll contact your sales representative. So even though TPI is in Florida, you are located all over the place. So again, I'm the North Central and New England states, and my colleagues have the other territories. Just make sure that your login reflects that so that we can get a hold of you. And speaking of getting a hold of us, we are changing our hours just a little bit. So the FIT department come Monday will be open from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time. And groups department stays as is, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then I just want to say before I bring back my screen, and I will here in a second, I thank you. I thank you, Lisa, for inviting me to do this. I thank you all. I saw the number go up to 60. Oh my God, 60, which is awesome. So until our next webinar, and I say this on every one of my webinars, but I'm going to say this. Let me get my screen back up because I do want you to see me. I want to thank you for your partnership, your attendance today. I want to wish you health and happiness. And honestly, when that world opens up to us, successful selling. Guys, we can do this.
Thank you, Rose. That was fabulous.
Oh my God, it was so long. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It was a lot of good stuff. I know that some of the advisors had to hop off, which is totally fine. I will resend this recording to everyone. So it was a lot of information. So once you get my cheat sheet, you can put that down with you if you want to rewatch this, and then make notes next to those names on the list. That might be helpful for you. And Rose, you have lots of people saying thank you, wonderful information. They can't wait to go. Yeah, so everybody really enjoyed it. So thank you. And everyone on here, like I said, I'll send you an email later today that'll have the recording of this webinar, also your cheat sheet that you got that I created for you. And then I also have 2 other webinars like this coming up, one for Greece and one for Ireland. So if you enjoyed this one, I hope to see you at my other 2. So thank you guys so much.
I hope you come to your other 2 as well. I really do. I really do.
I hope they do too.
Yeah, I think they will. All right. So bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.